morning. It's I'm having trouble getting connected here for some reason. Now, let's see if we can do what we came here to do. This is Chuck Griever coming to you live from Bristol, Virginia, USA. So now I am looking forward to this one. The name of this teaching is Diabolical of the Devil. Proverbs 28:9. What is diabolical? One who turns his ear away from hearing the law, even his prayer is an abomination. My goodness. So many of us in trouble and don't know it. So, I was just listening to a preacher claiming that he was removing generational curses. It almost made me laugh out loud because this Sunday preacher had such high expectations while violating God's most holy of all of his commandments, his ordained Sabbath. Jehovah is going to curse this sort of person in all that he does. Deuteronomy 11:26-28. Behold, I set before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing if you obey the commandments of Jehovah Elohim, which I command you today. And the curse if you do not obey the commandments of Jehovah, but turn aside from the way which I command you today, to go after other gods which you have not known. So, what God is saying here in the first person is that if you keep the commandments, he will bless you, but if you don't, he will curse you. There's no in between there where we get a blessing sometimes and sometimes we don't. We're either going to be blessed or cursed. This character must not have paid much attention in Bible school. Either that or they just didn't teach that part to him. Probably the latter is true, but more true than we would like to believe. Perhaps this is why the prophet Hosea says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." Because you have rejected knowledge, I also will reject you from being a priest for me. Because you have forgotten the law of your God, I also will forget your children. Hosea 4:6. Now this is God speaking through his prophet. This man lives to speak for his God, for his Elohim, Jehovah. I don't understand why it's so difficult to grasp. Because if we read or study any of the prophets, all of them say basically the same sort of thing. But what's most likely is that many pastors omit these things. They don't study the prophets because they have a prophet motive. Not P-R-O-P-H-E-T, but P-R-O-F-I-T. Prophet motive. They make a living preaching a powerful but sugar-coated gospel that wouldn't upset anyone, especially those with money. Now, this is unfortunate because unless we're broken, we cannot be saved. But that kind of sugar-coated gospel can go break anybody or offend anyone. Thus Messiah said, "Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing. Inwardly, they are ravenous wolves. You will know them by their fruits." So the fruit of false teaching, it can't be anything but death and lawlessness, or lawlessness and death. Matthew 7:15 and 16. We need to understand that Satan is trying to steal our faith from us by creating another Christ, and that one is lawless. And these false prophets and teachers have the same goal. They are working for Satan. Therefore, you will see that they have omitted the commandments from their teaching, and they do this while violating the fourth commandment, avoiding the Sabbath of Jehovah Elohim, is most holy of all of his commandments. And the only one that says, remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Our sanctification eludes us because we do not realize the importance of keeping Jehovah's Sabbath. Speak also to the children of Israel, saying, surely my Sabbaths you shall keep. For it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am Jehovah who sanctifies you. Exodus 31:13. This is the words of Jehovah himself speaking to Moses. Jehovah's mark or sign that we are set apart from the rest of mankind as his son or daughter is the Sabbath. And it's the same Sabbath he ordained for his assembly. Here is the real reason they don't preach Jehovah's commandments. The reason they don't preach his commandments is because they have no defense for violating his fourth commandment. It's not in the Bible that they should meet on some other day, that they should hold some other day as Sabbath. They know that the Bible does not support a Sunday Sabbath, nor can they say that Jehovah ordained such a day as a Sabbath for weekly convocation. They don't want to be caught lying or deceiving Yah's children, so the refusal to keep or teach Yah's commandments is just more smoke to blind us to the truth. The Apostle Paul teaches, and he says, now you know what is restraining, that he may be revealed in his own time. So something is hindering us. For the mystery of lawlessness is already at work. Only he who now restrains will do so until he's taken out of the way. So the lawlessness is the problem, the hindrance. And he'll continue to do this lawless one, until he's taken out of the way. And then the lawless one will be revealed, whom Yeshua will consume with the breath of his mouth and destroy with the brightness of his coming. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all unrighteous deception among those who perish. Why? Because they did not receive the love of the truth, that they might be saved. So for this reason, Jehovah will send them a strong delusion that they should believe the lie. So he enables the delusion for these people because they don't believe the truth, even when it's confronting them face to face. He says that they all may be condemned who did not believe the truth but had pleasure in unrighteousness. 2 Thessalonians 2, 6 through 12. In other words, if you are prone to not believe the truth but to hang on to the lie, if you have itching ears and you believe fables, you will die and you'll self-destruct in essence. And this is why he enables the lie, so that you suckers will believe it and die. No unlawful person will enter the kingdom of Jehovah Elohim. Now, I pray that your pastor is not a party to this satanic plot. But if he's avoiding the commandments, we can be absolutely sure he's not working for Messiah Yeshua. The Messiah says, whoever therefore breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches men so shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven, useless, worthless. But whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:19, who wants to be seen as unworthy or useless by heaven? At least at their calling, certainly I would not follow that person. Can the blind lead the blind? Will they not both fall into the ditch, says Yeshua. Luke 6:39. Red letters. It's the words of Christ, Messiah. It's our responsibility to not wind up in anyone's ditch. The Apostle Paul says in 1 Thessalonians 5:19, do not quench the spirit. Do not despise prophecies. Test all things to hold fast what is good. Abstain from every form of evil. Now may the God of peace himself sanctify you completely and make your whole spirit, soul, body be preserved blameless at the coming of Yeshua, Christ Messiah. He's coming. Oh, yeah. He's coming to claim his bride. And we need to know that the commandments that we're given, those 10 commandments, are our wedding vows. We must decide now who we belong to, the lawless one or the righteous one. Have we aligned ourselves with the real Christ, or are we in league with the Antichrist? Consider our predicament. Repent and return to the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except by Yeshua, Christ the Messiah. There is no other way. Shalom, my friends. Chuck Griever. I'll be back tomorrow with another short teaching. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.